in Campus, Georgia, in the man cave. It's late. Been doing my mail that I have to send all those knives to you winners on the live from the other day. Which reminds me, I haven't heard from Sean MacDonald, the neck sheath and knife from BPS. I can't find your info. If you send it to me, can you send it again? Oh, it's been one of those days. Anywho, Mary's napping and that tells me it's late. Staring at this. Remember this? A mail call. Unsuitably beaten and battered. You guys have finally beaten me down. Yep, straight razors. Let's check them out. So if you remember, what I'm talking about is the mail call from Illinois Brandon. You guys, whenever I do a antique mall visit with Keith and Michael, I see straight razors and I show them and move on. And there's always a comment. George, you just passed the straight razors. Yeah, I did. I know nothing about them. I've been looking at stuff you see here on straight razors. I still don't know anything, but I've got to tackle this. I really want to do this, so let's see what it's all about. I've been looking into them. I am suitably battered and beaten. And you guys didn't tell me, and I knew this was going to happen, and that is, it's a rabbit hole. This is this razor for this reason, and this razor for that reason, and the shapes. Oh, the humanity. And then, this is the mail call I'm talking about. This is the straw that broke my back. Brandon. Ha! And how simple they looked. I thought, that piece of cake, right? Not so much. Let's see what's in here. And he said, have fun. Not so much right now. I'm just confused. Now he sent me this, which had other pieces with it. These. This. I made the mistake of buying this. Safety razors. With all sorts of razor blades, I got to figure out these safety razors. Now you can see I've been fiddling, looking around. This is blade points. So what's that, right? I did some research. I looked, I read, and I'm still confused. Why would somebody take something like this and scrape it across your face? You know, I'm how do you hold it? Like that? Nope. You got to hold it a certain way, apparently like this. I think. Right? Ooh, all the handles are the same shape, just some a little bigger or smaller than others, and they have, okay, I got to say, some of the handles are pretty cool, the stuff they do with them. However, some razors, perfect. This is what you need. This is what you stick to. They work just perfect, right? And then they said, these ones, not so much. How do I know the difference? They all look the same to me. They all got these blades. Well, kinda, these blades. See this? It changes from blade to blade. And it's for a particular reason. It's like having a clip blade with a spade blade and a pen blade, except they're all on different razors and you use them for different things. That's what that's all about. So, here's the picture here. You can see here it says blade points. And you got that one that says round point, Spanish point, square point, French point, barber's notch, hook point. So, what is this guy? Oh, this ne'er-do-well I picked up And I knew I shouldn't have, because as soon as I did it and I showed you, I knew I was in trouble. It don't have nothing on there, which means it's a, I don't know. See, there's nothing. It's got a little bump on it. I don't see any there with a bump on it. So I think it's a square point, right? That's a square point. So I've got this document I put together by going through the internet. And a square point is for experienced shavers who want to make nice, clean shaves and have beards and that sort of thing. It says so right here. A square point, have sharp, precise edges. They all do, making them suitable for experienced shavers seeking clean lines and detailed beard and moustache grooming, although they require more caution use. This, I got a feeling, is not going to end well. Like I said, this is as close as I'm getting. See that picture here? There it is. And it says that the straight razor anatomy, important terms and concepts. They don't number it, they use alphabets. Is the head or point. M is the spine. Got a shoulder. They got the shank or the tang. Hook tail. The pivot pin. The heel of the blade. Scales. Wedge point. You got the face of the blade, the edge of the blade, and the toe. Man, I'm all over this. Now this guy on the tang has a tang stamp. Maybe it's a shank stamp. And this one, this is the one I found at the local little antique store the lady owns in town. And the reason I bought it was I fooled myself. It says Utica Knife and Razor Co. Utica, New York. I don't know if you can see that. Which I thought, oh, Utica Knife. Ha! I know them. So that's pretty cool. So I'm assuming you can figure out the maker. Now I'm figuring out, how do I know what razor it is? Well, on the other side, there's more. See that? And this says 917. Right? Model number, I'm assuming. And it says Red Point, Solingen, Germany. Wait, this is Utica. I'm confused. Oh, you know what they're doing? They're importing the blades. You see? But pretty cool looking. I like the handle. That's why I got it. Then I realized it came with all this other stuff. So that's where we are now. And you know as much as I do now, which I got to tell you is not enough. So there we are. Now the reason I'm telling you all this is he sent bits and pieces. He also sent, I believe, this ne'er-do-well. Look at this thing. It weighs a good 400 or 500 pounds, solid. Now it's kind of different. It's got scales and liners, right? There's the pin, the wedge pin. And then you got your pivot pin here. And it's pretty fancy. And it gets stuck like that. And it warns you. Yeah. I'm thinking this is not a real straight razor, right? It says here, DS01 440 stainless USA design, handcrafted in China, dark side blades. Yeah, kind of get that feeling. Look at this handle. Look at it's like molded. Okay. I'm not so sure. This is a good one, right? I'm thinking maybe not. Look how thick the blade is. Now these other things and it's stuck in there. Now I'm nervous. Look at it. Ooh, this one. I think he's just showing me the newer ones from China and places like that. They're not really. You get this online on, I don't know, Amazon or something like that. Temu. I don't know. And would I shave it with it? Even if I knew what I was doing, I don't think I'd use this. But he also sent this box. See that? You know, this has got to be cool. Because look how old and beat up the box is. This thing's almost as old as me, I'm assuming. And inside here is this guy. Okay? And you can see he's an oldie but goldie. Look at that. A little chipped on there. It's got character. Look at that. Just plain black. 2 pins. The tail is plain. What does it say on the tang? Or the shank? This one says, and you can see it. Ooh, don't hold the blade, George. It says right there, manufactured by Wade and Butcher, Sheffield, Anglaise. And then it's got like little symbols and whatnot, which means they know what they're doing. Can you see that? Here's a picture here, which I thought was pretty cool. Then on the face of the blade, see there? Nothing there, but there's something there. And this says, the celebrated hollow ground razor. And it's got that same mark again. You know, you see the maker's mark with the arrow and the bee. You know, this has got some style, right? Look, or the head of this one. Kind of different, right? Look at it. It's got that gouge out of it. What's that all about? Let's have a look. Now, there's a couple here that have gouges on. You can see the picture there. And this is either the barber's notch or the hook point, right? They got the divots in them. So this one, that notch is in the middle, right? This is a hook point razor. It's a rabbit hole. You know what it's for? Comments. There's going to be a lot of comments on this one, I got a feeling. This one is pretty cool. And I thought I'd better look it up. Here's what I found. So I got my piece of paper here. And what they say is that Wade and Butcher was a Sheffield cutlery firm that began a partnership in 1820. Yeah, 1820. Do you know how long ago that was? Between Robert Wade and the Butcher brothers, William and Samuel. They dissolved in 1829, so they didn't really stay together very long. What, 9 years? The W&S Butcher Company had the trademark, and they continued making it. They became a major razor manufacturer. They were pretty good, apparently. The original company ceased production in 1959. The brand name was actually revived by a company that bought the rights to it. And they carried on with it, and using the W&S Butcher continued right up until 1959. The brand name was sold again. Well, not sold again, but they sold the brand name, and the production of knives and razors started under new ownership. And it says here they had 2 really famous makes, and one was the celebrated Anglo-Saxon concave razor, and the other celebrated hollow ground razor. So there you go. So the brand names were acquired by Durham Duplex Company, and are produced by them now. So the scale is horn, by the way, and you can see this is horn. So beautiful. So very cool. I'm not sure how old it is. I doubt if it's that. You probably know. Comments below. Now you know as much as I do. We haven't even scratched the surface. Trust me on this one. So very cool, Brandon. Very cool. So now we get to this. And this, Brandon sent me, and he has a lot of confidence in me. Let's see what's inside. So this is what was inside. And basically, there's what I would call just the razor, the actual razor itself. And he sent me these. And I'm not sure what it is, but it looks like some sort of bone or horn. Okay. Very cool. You can see that. They even have the right shape, kind of. And with it was this. And if you look, we got some nylon washers, 2 pins, and a piece of the same as this. And if you're wondering what that piece is for, when I looked at it, I didn't understand. Well, remember on this guy, you got the two scales, and they put a piece in there where this pin goes in. So you need that piece in there to stop her from squeezing closed, because the blade won't fit in there if you do that. So that's what that's for, allegedly. Now I'm going to show you what he sent me. Here is the blade, and I'm gonna clean it up so that it's got a little rust and whatnot on it. And I suspect he didn't clean it because he knew I'd want to do that. Here's the blade here. Now, when I first looked at this, I just looked at the tang, okay? And the tang said Simmons Hardware Co. on it. And I thought, oh, somebody made it for Simmons Hardware, right? Then I looked on the face of the blade, and it says, brace yourself, E.C. Simmons Keen Cutter. Look at that. This is a Keen Cutter razor. And there you can see Simmons Hardware. Is that not the coolest thing ever? And I'm looking all over this thing to see if there's some sort of model number or anything like that. I'm not seeing anything. But one thing I did notice is, you see here, they have jimping. I don't know if that's what they call it, which obviously gives you the grip when you're holding the razor, right? So very cool. We got the whole shooting match here. Oh, by the way, let's measure this, because that'll help us with the model, right? So it's an E.C. Simmons 3/4, or just, 3/4. The notch is on the top. Ha! This is a barber's one. So, professional use. Very cool. We have got to figure out how to put this together. Not only that, we got to make it fit nice and shape it all nice. Putting these two together. On this side, we're going to have the actual pivot pin. And on this side, what are they called? The wedge pin, which now I couldn't remember. Remember I said, I don't know why they call it a wedge pin, but you put a wedge in there and a pin through to stop them coming together, right? I'm guessing here. So what we have to do is we got to put these together so that when the razor closes, it goes right in there perfectly. And this is where the plot thickens. I think I know what I'm doing. Can you tell? Not really. So we're going to have, obviously, the two scales. This is going to be pinned here somewhere. And we're going to swing, this swings in and sits in there like that. It's got to miss that pin, and this pin's got to be in the right place. Because we're going to have to look very carefully. And what I'm going to do is compare it to the other one. So let's do that now. So at least we're going in the right direction. So it would sit like that, which means this goes right there, and that piece that he gave us will be in the front here. This will go on top here, like that. That'll be good. I just want that piece. And you can see in here, 2 pins and the washers. I probably will. And this will be in here. And then this, like that, right? You see this one, it's not stopping anything. It's the width that stops on the edges. See here? This edge here is thicker than the gap. So it stops there. It doesn't go through. This is more complicated than putting a knife together. So that this comes in, and the thickness at the top here sits on the edges of these, just like this does, and it doesn't fall through. Yeah, I think that's what we got to do. This pinhole needs to be way higher so that it sits up here. Because if you look at the blade, it's thicker here and gets thinner as you go down. So to get it to go deep in here, you got to put the thin part as far as you can. Morning, campers. Snowed last night, and now we have 40-mile-an-hour gusts of wind. Welcome to Minnesota. Cheers. I have been staring at this thing, trying to figure out the correct position to put that, to drill the hole for the bolster. 3 hours later, I've given up. I made a mark. See it there? That's where I'm going to drill, and that's that. So we got to drill a hole in there. I want to get that drilled. Then I'm going to put these two together and drill through so that they line up. Then we'll pin it. Obviously, we've got to put this in and see how it lines up. I try to match it up as close as possible to this. Kind of, sort of, maybe. So let's do that. I'm going to use this drill, but it's slightly bigger than this, but I might make it a little bit bigger. We'll see how it fits. What I don't want to do is when I start pinning, break the bone, the horn, sorry. Does this even fit? I didn't look. No, it doesn't. Oh, no. That's not good. It's really tight on the blade. Well, let's tape them together and drill the other one. Man, I've got to remember how sharp these are. I don't want to put any tape on it right now because I want to check something. It might work. Ha! It doesn't fall through. There's a plus right there. Okay, I feel a little bit better right now. So now decisions. Do I pin this first, then drill the hole? Because I'm going to need to know what shape I need. Now obviously this thing needs to be a lot deeper than this one. So that's what we need to look at now. How deep do we want that handle? Right to there. Right to there. Okay. So we got room. We got room. Okay. I think I have to pin it, because then I can tape it all together and see where everything lies, and then drill that other hole and then decide on the shape. And we can round that off and bring it down. Okay, let's pin it. I'm nervous about this. Does that look level to you? This side's further down than this side. Huh. Maybe there's a reason for that, so we will not complain because we know nothing. I should have used the Wade and Butcher as a guide, because it's almost exactly the same sort of, well, no, almost the same handle, a little bit shorter. You want to make sure that you start with flat ends on your pins. So and you have to have a decent file. Okay, so we've got these nylon washers, and I'm assuming they're going to go on the inside here. Okay, one thing I forgot to do is I want to bevel out the outsides here. No, I changed my mind. I was thinking to see if I could go to the local hardware store and find some brass washers like this and put them on the outside. But kind of like this. But I don't know. These are different. These are kind of very cool. Look at them. You see that? They're special. And I'm not that special. The horn, I'm worried about pinning it and cracking it. Can you tell I'm just really nervous about this whole thing? But I'm just going to start pinning slowly. The safety manager's pitched up for a drink. She pretends she's here for the drink, but she's checking I'm being safe, but she doesn't want to be obvious about it. What's she tell now? I just want to pin the pin a little bit. Careful, you don't have your safety glasses on. And those are sharp. And I just realized I forgot to bevel first. Let me see if I can get it out. I just want a very slight bevel on it. So here we are here. I'm just going to take all the tape off and hold it together and see how we're doing. Oh, I'm so nervous about this whole thing. Okay. I like the idea of the nylon washers because you're not going to wear on the horn. I keep wanting to say bone. But if I hold these tight here, because we're going to pin here, it doesn't go through. See that? No, it's not as close as I thought it was. Okay, so now we need to glue that together and figure out where and how we want that pin to be on this side. Drill the holes. I hope they're good enough. I discovered something and I thought I'd seen it on the other ones. I just want to get a little bevel on there. When you open and close this, the width of the blade is actually expanding and closing, so the whole handle opens and closes, and it kept pulling apart here because I had it in the wrong position. When I glued it, there was a gap. I had to re-glue it. So now we seem to be in the right place. Now we need to pin this guy and then we'll start shaping it. I don't know if you can see the mark on it there. I did scratch where I'm going to go down to and look, and then we're going to round these off and that off. We'll cut all this off. So hopefully this will work. So here we are here, and you can see it's not going to fall through, which is a good thing. And now we have to shape this thing. We have a lot of room there, a lot more than I thought we would. So the plan is to round this off a little bit more, and of course that as well. So they'll be doing some filing. Hot tip, because you have all this open gap between these two, you don't want to be clamping onto that because they'll snap. You want to put some sort of support in here so that you're clamping here and not just squeezing it in and not there. I'm using that piece I cut off to keep this clamped. Okay, here we are. Ooh boy, with the basic shape. Okay, now these sides are still angled. They got to go. They got to be rounded, because when you hold it, you want a nice smooth feel to it. And so far, it hasn't fallen through. So very exciting. Even Mary's impressed. So now we start shaping the whole handle, the edges. Want to round it off so that it's kind of sort of like this. Not sure I want to go that thin. Pinning it together, I think, was better for me to do. But now it makes it very difficult to work on this edge because you've got the handle in the way. But you can work around it with a little bit of persistence. So here we go. Sanding. Mary's favorite. Ask her. She's such a brat. Got cold in here because I have the ventilation going. Pulls all the cold air all the way through the whole cottage. What do you do? So here I am with 80, and I've rounded it off and reduced it slightly. It's still fairly thick in the middle, and it's just the one side. So you can see there, still got to clean up the shape. It's not quite perfect, but we're still at 80 grit. Now I've got to do the other side. See you in another hour or so. So here we are here. 80 grit, rounded everything off, made it a little bit smoother. Don't know if it still works. Let's see. Well, we're good there. And we're apparently good here, allegedly. Pretty cool. I like this handle. Now we start making it shine. And we're going to be sanding down to 10,000. Why not, right? And then maybe even polish. And of course, this needs to be cleaned. Doesn't need to be sharpened though. I'm going to start off with 320 and we'll work our way up just like I do on regular knives. The nice thing is when you do that, it leaves white marks where you need to get rid of. The dust collects in there. So until you don't see that, you keep going. See what I mean? Can you see the white marks? Those are all scratches that we need to get rid of. Okay, here we are at 5 to 600. Now we're going to go to 1,000, 2,000, and then we'll do 10. I'm not sure what I should put on here. I'll look it up and see what's the best thing to keep horn good. You want to clean off these sharp edges here because you don't want it to chip. So just a very light rub. You don't want to change the shape. You just want to get rid of that really sharp edge. So here we are at 1,000. Starting to get a bit of a shine to it. Very nice. I like that. And now we're going to go 10,000, which is a pain because it's so fine it clogs easily, so you're going to have to keep unclogging it as you go. Piece of 10,000. Let's see what happens. So here we are at 10,000. Shines up nicely. I'm going to do 10,000 on the blade and polish it. Nothing more than that. Hopefully that'll clean it up. Better check to see if it still works, right? So I gave it a quick polish with mothers and cleaned up the blade. While I was cleaning up the blade, I'm going to try and show you this. It's really hard to see, but can you see it right there? If you look there, see that? That must be a serial number, right? 1066, I think it is. See that? Ha! That handle worked out better than I thought it would. So I read up on what to use for horn, and there were a couple of different things. I use orange glow on a lot of things, and surprisingly, that came up. They said, spread this on, put it on, then leave it for a couple of days to soak in, and you're all good. So I'm going to quickly wipe it down with that. And I'll do it again in a couple of days. So there you go. Keen cutter. Brandon, my best friend. Well, not quite. This was a challenge. But you know what? A good challenge. Oh, 23 cups of coffee, a nervous breakdown, no sleep, dreamt about it. I'm kidding. Brandon, I'm just going to say this. You know, everything I said before was fun. Okay. I got to tell you that your mail call is very true. I know nothing about straight razors, but you know me, I like to read up about stuff I don't know about. I knew I was eventually going to do this. I just had to find the time to get to it. So I read up. I still don't know anything. I know this is a rabbit hole, but I'll go down it and have a look. Will I be shaving with him? No. Fun project. Loved it. Challenging, something I've never done before, never considered it. And wow, I got to tell you, I had to really think about it and look at it and figure out. It sounds really simple. Put two sides on a blade. Not so much. You got to get it to fit so it doesn't fall through. It's angled. You got to, and you're dealing with bone. Well, horn. Last time I was dealing with bone or horn, I broke it. So I was really nervous about that. But what a great project. And I am nowhere near finished reading up about it. I went through really quickly. I made some notes and things, but I'm going to go back and read about it. Interesting history. Obviously, there's a lot of people that make them, and which makes it fun. It's like vintage knives. Thousands of companies out there made them and went out of business, and now you find them out there and you can play with them. And then there's the safety razors, and I'm not going there. Very cool, my friend. I thank you very much for that mail call. Your persistence worked. In fact, all of you. From now on, when I go on a knife hunt and I see razors, I'll look at them a little closer and look at the names and see if I can recognize any of them. Whatever. And at least you guys can get to see them, because I know you would like to. So, very cool. I did take a minute or two just to clean these guys up. Gave them a quick wipe and clean up and a polish. This is the Utica knife company that I found at the local store. Red dot, what that means, don't know. It's obviously means something. But it cleaned up pretty nice. You can see it there. Unfortunately the scales are, got broken. I really like that idea of the bolsters on them. That's pretty cool, and it really would make pinning a lot easier. It'll go into my 3 razor collection, which that's it, right? Okay. And I basically did the same thing with this one, just cleaned it up, wiped it off, gave it a rub and a polish. It is a very nice razor. I like it. I love this handle, this it's horn. But you can see if you get too thin, it's very delicate. It chips easily. And these pins, I'd love to know more about these pins. It looks like it's it has a washer. And then the pin goes into the washer and through the handles. So pretty cool. Would be nice to find those, even for knives. And of course, this one is the hollow ground razor from Wade & Butcher, Sheffield. Very cool. And then my monstrosity. Oh, by the way, the case, I just put some vegetable oil on it. I'll let that sit for a while and I'll redo it again. I don't want it to go hard and brittle and start falling apart, because it's for this guy, the Wade Butcher, so goes in there. And of course now I'm thinking, what about a slip? But you don't really carry them on you, but it would be nice if you don't have a case, come up with something to keep it in. And here's my one, and you know, as much as I wanted, and you can see there the handle's pretty thick, and of course, how do you hold them? Like that, right? 2 fingers here over them. So seems to work. I love this horn. It's really nice. And of course I kind of filled in those holes and things like that with super glue, let it dry, and then just sanded it down. Didn't really hide it much, it's just not as obvious. You can see there, the hardest part for me was this. Puzzled over it for a while. So but it worked out. You know, I just had to make sure that it's not going to fall through. And of course, this has a pretty thick spine on it, so that helped. But interestingly enough, when you open and close these things, the handle opens, splits open and closed. Why? This is wedge shaped. Okay. Putting those little nylon washers in is going to preserve the bone, because you're going to be rubbing on the bone here. And this noise you're hearing here took me a while to figure out what it was. It's actually the blade hitting the bone. The horn, very cool. Pretty proud of how it came out. My pinning is even okay. I was really, that worried me. Thank you, sir. You all be safe out there. Don't be running off and getting these things and start shaving with them, because I can tell you, they're sharp. Let's get a piece of paper and cut it. What do you say? I've done nothing to them. Nothing has changed. Oh, look, an advert. Let's see if it cuts, right? Listen to that. Listen to it. My banger, Utica, let's see. Oh, not quite as good, but it still sounds pretty smooth. So please be safe. And don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back. Still getting mail calls, and I know people send them in, and I didn't want to put them off. People wait to see them. So that reminds me. Some reason people got confused on the knife hunt at the gun show. Keith had given me that knife, and I said, you know, it'll be a gore, and everybody thought it was. It will be a video coming up, just a random video. I haven't decided when, but it'll be there, and it'll be before Christmas, because the idea being it's a Christmas call. What do you do? Thanks for watching. Always appreciate it. We'll see you again soon.